Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Louis Cafresi. So I want to talk to you about the best kind of diet when it comes to losing weight. So here we go. So this is how it works. If you get a low-fat, high-carb diet and you compare it to a low-carb diet, if you keep the protein relatively the same and you drop the total amount of calories, the amount of fat loss and weight loss is going to be the same. Translation? It's the protein that helps drive the fat loss while also preserving muscle, which helps you burn more fat more effectively. So there really isn't no best diet that's going to help you to lose the weight. The focus should be keeping your protein high while still making sure you reduce the calories that you're bringing into your body. This is what we call being in a caloric deficit. This is why you can pretty much effectively lose weight on any kind of diet that you want to be on. It's why I can sit right here and eat my Twizzlers and my Snickers and my ice cream and still drop weight and still burn fat. It's definitely not the route I recommend though, but it certainly is possible. Now you may say, well, I tried keto. I just took out the carbs, I'm having proteins, I'm having fat, and I'm barely losing weight. Actually, I'm actually gaining weight. So what gives? The problem is you're overeating what you took out. If I take out my carbs, but then replace it with fats and I'm doubling up on the fats, of course, I'm gonna either not change in weight or I'm gonna increase my weight. The same thing goes for a vegan diet. I take out all the sources of protein out and all I do is I replace it with carbs, but I continue to add more and more carbs to it. So now essentially you're actually just eating more than when you actually were before. You're on what we call a caloric surplus. You're eating more than what your body's actually burning off. So it really isn't the type of diet that you're actually on. It's honestly the amount of calories that you're actually shoving in your mouth. Generally speaking, a diet that consists of high protein with a controlled amount of carbs and fats will typically have you losing weight. And again, if you meet the caloric deficit. Yes, if you wanted to eat Twinkies, you can eat Twinkies as your diet, and as long as you still meet your caloric deficit, you're still gonna drop the weight. Well, this brings me to a point, right? If I consume less calories, then the amount of calories my body actually burns in a whole day, which is used for breathing, my heartbeat, my lungs, my brain function, and any other metabolic function, does that mean I can still lose weight by just eating donuts all day? I kind of already said that answer, but yes, if I love bread and all different kinds of bread and all I want to do is just eat bread, can I still drop it as long as I'm meeting my caloric deficit? That's a big yes. Again, it's going to be beneficial for you though in the long term, and let's get into that. For one, just being on a high carb intake or a high sugar intake, you're missing so many vital nutrients and micronutrients that you could be getting from your other sources of proteins and fats. You're missing out of your nutrients from your fruits and your vegetables as well. And two, to maintain a diet like that on just carbs and sugar, it's gonna be very difficult to feel satiated. You're gonna feel like you're gonna be hungry every single time. Most of the carbohydrates we eat are unfortunately overly processed. Many of the fats, many of the proteins that comes in these grains have been lost to these over-processed ways of making the food, like the pastas and the breads and cereal and all that. It's just really carbs, and which breaks down into sugar, which is totally not the best source for feeling satiated. So you're gonna end up finding yourself wanting to eat over and over and over again. This is why it's so important whenever diet you do, it's important that you include your proteins and that you include your fats in the diet. Because one of the most important macros that's gonna help you curb your hunger when you're in a caloric deficit is gonna be your proteins and your fats. A third thing here is actually leaving protein out of the equation. You wanna remember that protein is gonna be the number one helper in helping you burn fat and helping you improve weight loss. It's actually more thermogenic than fats or carbs, as well as its positive effects preventing muscle loss. The best diet for weight loss is going to be the one where you can maintain a caloric deficit. Of course, some of these diets are going to be more difficult than others, right? You know, you probably have friends or maybe you yourself have tried maybe a keto style diet, maybe a paleo diet, and you found it after about a couple weeks, it was kind of hard to stick to. At that point, it's going to become a question of diet sustainability. It's what's the best diet that you can stick with? And that honestly right there, as long as you're staying under a caloric deficit and you're getting the right proteins in, is what's gonna help you for your weight loss. All right, this is Coach Louis. Again, if you have any questions, please hit me up, comment, send me a message, and I hope to get back to you. Until next time, this is your coach, out.